I've Decided presents The Journey. Along the journey to your success, there are many great adventures and great insights. You can learn from it all. Tune in the first week of every month and be encouraged by guests who will share their success stories and their challenges.
Hello and good morning, I've Decided community. It's a beautiful November day, and I'm so happy to be with you here today. I'm Michelle Bohm. I'm the founder of Inspired Style Company and CEO of the same, and I am your host for The Journey. You probably noticed that my co-host is missing today. I usually look over and welcome my friend Jeannie Quick. And unfortunately, she's not feeling well today, so she wasn't able to make it. And I'm going to have to fly solo without my favorite sidekick. So, Jeannie, I know you're watching, and we send you all the best. Hope that you're feeling better very, very soon, because I love and I miss you already. So, normally it is Jeannie and I here talking about our weekly winning word and how we are taking that and developing it into our life as just part of who we are and where we want to be. And I sincerely hope that you enjoy all of those things, the shows that we've been bringing to you, because they really are part of the path that we have decided, or that we at I've Decided have created to helping you achieve your success. When it comes to the journey, all of our shows are based around the process to get from where you are now to where you want to be. And that starts with creating a vision. So if you look back on even the last 90 days of episodes, that's been a lot of our focus, is creating the vision that you want for your life. We've talked about respect, what it is, what it isn't, and how we can be more respectful to ourselves and our others and give ourselves some grace while we are on this path. So we've talked about a vision for that. We've talked about integrity, and that's part of the vision because we need to be able to integrate that into our daily life. And then we've also talked about our values and how those line up or don't, how our actions can line up or not with our values. So all of those things, I think, are kind of buttoned up with the perfect word that we have this week, which is sincere. I think the word sincere develops or envelops all of those things and really ties them all together. So that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. What sincerity is, and again, what it isn't. And then I'm going to give you some tips and some tricks that have helped me in my past, and that we are talking about all of those things that I've decided this week. So, first, what does the word sincere even mean? Jeannie kind of teases me sometimes because I really like to understand what the word of the week is, so that I can have that in my head and approach my entire week with intention about that word. That's what these weekly winning words are designed to do, is just keep them front of mind. But the first thing that I like to do with it is really dig in. So the definition of the word sincere is talking and acting in a way that shows that you really mean what you say and do. Because we've all experienced people that say one thing but do another, right? And you would obviously say that that person is not sincere. People have told me, usually when I ask, people to describe me or what they would say about me, sincere is usually a word that they use. And so that's gotten me thinking this week, because I don't believe that that's how I always was. I don't believe that I always say and do what I want to. But I am definitely better at it than I used to be. So having that weekly winning word this week has allowed me to go back and look in my past, and I'm going to share some of those things with you. I've also learned this week that sincerity is really a daily practice. It's, obviously, through all the episodes that we've done on the journey, we've talked about each of these things that we want to integrate into our life have to be a daily practice. We have to continue working on them until they become who we are and not just the thing that we do sometimes. I want sincerity to be part of who I am. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. If you're kind of struggling with some of these things and figuring out part of this plan that is the steps from here to there, from where you are to where you want to be, I've decided is the resource for that. And the reason being, if you don't have a lot of people in your life that are talking about words like sincerity, values, integrity, they don't talk about respect, they don't talk about these kind of things that develop you personally, well, then you might need to create a community for that, or create an environment where that happens more often. I've decided is the perfect community for that. And if you're in the I've Decided community, you get the weekly winning resource. That's an article that is emailed every week, and it digs a little bit deeper into each one of these things. So, the article this week in the weekly winning resource is all about developing a more sincere personality. And it very much is the same journey in becoming a more sincere person as it is in everything we do. We first have to have a vision for what sincerity is. Then we have to have a plan of action of how we're going to actually make that happen. And we have to have a community of support to help us reach our goal or to hold us accountable. It's all the same steps: vision, plan, action. Vision, plan, action to get from here to there. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. If you do receive the weekly winning resource, there's an article in there to help you with a sincerity self-assessment. So kind of like a little temperature check on yourself to find out, am I really sincere in everything I say and do? So check those out if you get the resource. But today I want to talk about really what I've done personally that I believe makes people describe me as sincere. 10 years ago, I would have not felt like a sincere person. I felt like I looked one way to the outside world, but felt very different inside. So sincerity has really become developing who I am personally so that those two things matched up. I always had aspirations of being a certain way, but my actions didn't line up to meet those aspirations, and so I never really got there. And that can create a lot of personal problems, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of self-confidence issues. When you're not congruent with who you want to be in the world, you feel it. Whether you're conscious of it or not, you feel it. So the first thing that I had to do was to get really clear on who I was and who I wasn't. Not who I wanted to be, who I was. Because if we're not clear on those things, we can't change them at all. We have to be able to take a broad view of ourselves and then really drill down to the problem. I always wanted to be joyful and peaceful and a wonderful mother and a wonderful wife, and I aspired to be all of these things, but until my actions started lining up with them, I felt like I was hitting a brick wall. So I want to encourage you with that a little bit. For me to dig really deep and figure out why I do the things I do and say the things I say, why I have the thoughts that I have, I approached that problem in the same way that I approach every problem, which is to analyze it. And that requires kind of, again, stepping back and looking at the problem as it is. Again, not as you want it to be, as it is. It requires neutral thinking, which is something I didn't really understand. So let me give you an example. When I would snap at my kids, I have this aspiration of being a wonderful mother to my two boys. And when I would snap at my kids, that was not in alignment with who I wanted to be. And my soul knew it. But it would speak to me, my thoughts would say, look at you, you're a bad mother, you're yelling at your kids, you're doing all these things that you don't want to do, you're not really who you say you want to be. And it became a self-fulfilling prophecy because I felt even worse about myself when I would do it. When I took the emotion out of it and I stopped speaking negatively about myself to myself, I was able to kind of observe my behavior and then analyze it and then figure out what it meant. Why am I snapping at my kids right now? Is it because I didn't sleep? Do I need a Snickers? Like, what's the problem here? Or is it, something they're doing? Is it that I haven't structured my day so everything feels chaotic? I could drill down and figure out what those real problems were in each one of those situations. But by removing myself and getting, a 10,000 foot view of my life, I was able to remove the emotion from it. So I want to encourage you to do that, to really analyze it and troubleshoot, figure out the root cause of the problem. I kind of call it like an out of body experience. Like I am doing it, but I'm looking at it as if it were somebody else, and I'm observing their actions so that I can really understand them and really dig deep into them. And again, that showed me that patterns will emerge and I could fix those problems because I knew what was causing them. I could fix them. You can't fix a problem if you don't know what it is. So again, getting clear on that vision. It also allowed me to pick and choose, by being neutral, it allowed me to pick and choose the behaviors that I wanted to keep and the ones that I didn't. I think of it like cleaning out a closet, right? I hold up things and I say, does this fit the vision that I want? Does this fit the vision of the style that I want? And yes, it stays. No, it doesn't. If it's not serving me, it's got to go. But there are plenty of things that are serving me, and those are the things that I want to keep. So by really digging deep and removing yourself a little bit from the situation so you don't have that emotional attachment, you can get super clear on the problem itself. Once I did that and I turned my aspirational things that I wanted, like being a good mom and being ambitious and being all those things, I switched it from aspirations to values, things that are actually so important to me that when I am not congruent with those things, I don't feel good. I could name those. So let me give you an example of that. I value ambition. So I value in myself the ability to set a goal and chase it and make it mine. I have been able to do that since I was a little kid. I would say, I want that, and I would chase it. I value that in other people too. I'm inspired by other people's ambition. When somebody sets a goal to do something and achieves it, that makes me happy. That's definitely something I value. I encourage people to do that. But until I got clear on the kind of ambition that I wanted, I was doing all the wrong things. I would set the goal and I would chase it, but to the detriment of everything else in my life. Because if ambition is the goal or is the value, and none of my other values are clear, then I could easily destroy relationships. I could destroy my health. I could hurt myself with my ambition, and that's what I was doing. I was running myself into the ground because the only value I was super clear on was that I was ambitious. But when I got clear on the rest of my values, that I also value peace in myself, well, I can't chase my goals the same way that I used to because those two values are not congruent. I can't be running myself ragged and value peace at the same time. So when I got clarity on those things, I was able to blend it into my life a little bit better. Again, the exercises that we have done through these weekly winning resources, if you go back and look at the values one, that really helped me a lot with that. I had to acknowledge what was getting in the way of me doing these things. So if I am snappy with my kids, and I know that that's not what I want to be doing, and I know that it's happening more often than it should, then I need to acknowledge what it is that's actually getting in the way of that and correct it. Is it that I'm working too hard? Is it, again, that I'm not sleeping? I don't know what the reason is yet, but I need to acknowledge that something is getting in the way and then figure out what that is so I can correct it. So the way I've done that is a lot of therapy. You know, that's essentially what therapy is, acknowledging your problems, right? Uh, I've studied personal development like it was a degree program. You know, I want a PhD in how to analyze these things about myself and change behavior, change patterns, change habits. I want to be able to do that. So I've studied that, and I've also come to some level of acceptance, again through therapy, of things that I can change and things that I can't, and allowing myself to let go of some of the things that weren't serving me. Like I said, that doesn't fit in the vision that I want for myself and it's not serving me, then it's got to go. Um, I love this idea that even though I can't maybe change my past, I can't go back and change things that have happened to me, good or bad. Um, I can't go back and fix problems that I've caused. You can't go back. You can't go back and change the past. But I can change the way that I think about the past. I can change the beliefs that I have about things that have happened. And by doing that, I can change the way I think about it, which will then change my actions down the road. So again, another really important piece in creating a more sincere personality is acknowledging your failures and your wins, so that you can do something about them. You can change. You can actually change the way you think about them. And even though it doesn't change the past, it kind of does, because if you're changing the way you're thinking about it today, it changes the way you feel about it. So I love that idea. Now, here's the bad news. If you want to live a more sincere life, if you want to chase down these things and create this, make your vision of yourself congruent with who you're actually being, it requires a level of vulnerability and self-acceptance that is very hard. Even saying the word vulnerability it still like makes my throat close up. 10 years ago when I couldn't even say that word because to me it was just synonymous with weakness, and I'm too busy chasing my dreams and goals to sit here and worry about vulnerability. That wasn't even a word in my vocabulary, to be perfectly honest. But I've done a lot of work with that. There's one resource that I want to recommend to you. Brene Brown. She has completely changed my life. If you go on and listen to her TED Talks, and read any of her books, it's all about vulnerability and how you can take that to actually how you can work with that to actually manifest the things that you want in your life. She talks about it in terms of self and if you are a leader and all of those things. So I definitely recommend that resource. It's helped me tremendously. And one of the things that she said that really stuck with me and made me actually go through and do the work was that you're suffering whether you know it or not. But in this way, by deciding to figure out these things about yourself, it is going to cause suffering, but at least it's a path to a better life. You're suffering anyway. At least take steps to control the kind of suffering that you're doing, the suffering that's actually going to make you a better person. So that helped me a lot. It's definitely uncomfortable, but I can choose my discomfort, and I'm going to choose to do the things that are uncomfortable but make me better versus doing the things that are uncomfortable because they're easier. So then once I did all of those things and I started really getting clear on the vision for my life and the steps that I needed to take to get there, the last step is finding the people that are doing those things. Like I said, if you don't have people in your life that are talking about, integrity and success and all of the words that you hear at the garden all the time, I want you to question that and decide if you really need that. That's what I love about I've Decided, is that it's a community of people coming together to make things happen not for each other, for themselves. It's your own personal definition of success. And I've Decided it's just a community to help you get there. For example, I just took Master My Message. I mentioned it last month. We're halfway through the course right now with Cindy Bird at Image Potential. And there is something about being able to go to, knowing that I had a problem. I have a problem of I have so many words and I can't organize them. I can't get all of the thoughts that are in my head organized and on paper. Cindy Bird is the resource for that, and I found her and I've decided. So I could take Master Your Message and I could get a little bit more clear on the things that I am trying to communicate, and she's the best resource to do that. It's all under one roof at I've Decided. It's also a place that when I'm struggling with motivation or inspiration, I can go there and I can find a community of people that are doing the things that I want to do. I can find people that lift me up. Winning is a lot more fun when there's people cheering you on and celebrating that success for you. It's a lot more fun that way. I've had goals that I have chased completely on my own that nobody else even knew about. And when I achieved them, I was kind of bummed because I'm looking around and nobody is like, woohoo, patting me on the back. I've got an entire community of people that'll do those things for me. When I'm struggling with inspiration and I don't know where I need to go, I have a place where I can find those sparks of inspiration. Speaking of sparks of inspiration, that's actually what we're going to talk about tomorrow at the Garden. So if you are hearing this before November 5th, I'm going to be speaking at the Garden about finding your spark of inspiration. And so you can find it there with us tomorrow morning at 8:30, or you can follow us on Zoom. You can come to the meeting that way as well. And I think that I've Decided is so important to me right now because it's exactly what I need in my life. I need those people to cheer me on. I need the resources. I need the education and the inspiration. I need all of those things. And I've Decided is my place where I can get that. So if you're not a member and you're not getting that weekly winning resource, I want to encourage you to do that. If you need help with creating the vision, if you need help with creating the plan, if you need the support and encouragement, I invite you to join our I've Decided community. And you can do that at ivedecided.org. So make sure you go there today and check it out. I am already out of time with the journey. Again, I miss my friend Jeannie here with me to kind of talk through some of these ideas and really drive home the concept of creating a more sincere personality for a more sincere life. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a comment for us down below. We want to hear from everyone in our I've Decided community about the things that are speaking to you right now so we can create programs and resources and opportunities around those things. Until next month, I'm Michelle Bohm, and this is The Journey. We'll see you next time.
PeoriaLife.com